You're an endurance athlete. Why?
Glad we got an hour because there's so many whys. I'm a Bristol-based ultra-endurance athlete. I've ridden across America, ridden from Bristol to Athens, east coast to west coast of America. I've done countless 100-mile races, 200-mile run around Queen Square in Bristol, which was a 480-metre loop. I just stared at a map and there was India just staring at me. And I thought, right, there needs to be a route, 700k, because I've only got a week's annual leave left. And then I thought, I've never been to India. I thought that's the best way to actually experience the country. COVID took everything away. COVID took all the races. Yeah. So it was more of a jump in your mind and obviously raise as much money as possible for charity. And I think there's a massive pandemic coming our way in the fact that we've got all these influencers that are basically saying, go and do these ultra runs, go and push yourself. And yes, you should, but the journey is the most beautiful thing. All of a sudden, I hear a pitter-patter of feet in the middle of a forest in Scotland. I look behind and someone's chasing me and I'm so scared. So I stop and I literally look up and I recognise the person. It's someone who I've tragically seen die. I tragically saw them drown in front of me, and I literally look at them in the face and I can see their breath in the cold air, and I look at them and I just shout, fuck off.
This episode is sponsored by Streamline Studios.
You know, when me and Jacky started Bear Chat, George,
Yep.
we thought it'd be simple. But in reality, it's quite a lot. The editing, adjusting the cameras, the lighting.
Doing it by yourself is kind of impossible, but that's why we've set this place up. I'm over there, I'm handling the live edit, so I'm mixing all the cameras together whilst you chat, following the conversation.
Yeah, and for me, that's why Streamline Studios has been an absolute game changer, because we come, we record, it's all done, plugged onto the hard drive and ready to go when we leave.
For people that might be listening, that have thought about doing a podcast, they've got an idea, they've got a conversation they want to have, come and try it out.
If you want to get into podcasting, don't sit back and just wait. Come down to Streamline Studios and it's all edited live. You can publish your episodes as soon as you leave.
And listeners of this show will get 25% off their first booking. Quote BEAR25 at checkout.
That might change as well.
I have a missus, 25 years, I have a dog and I have some cats, so I do have my responsibilities. But there's a slice of me where I'm a bit of a lone ranger at times and a bit of a nomad. If I didn't have that, I'd be sleeping here. I won't be going.
Yeah. I was surprised if you slept here, George, actually. Oh, yeah. Pull that.
Sorry, mate.
There you go.
All good.
We're rolling.
Hi, Will. Welcome.
Hey, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Obviously, we're meeting in person for the first time, but we spoke briefly over through Instagram to invite you over, and we have almost like a kind of synergy and a shared relationship with the one and only Tenzing.
Exactly.
We'll put them guys in now.
Yes, please.
Yeah, go for it. That's all we've got, though. We've actually rinsed them this week, haven't we? We had 2 crates. They've gone in like 3 days.
Jacky don't want to have any because yesterday, with one of our guests, he ended up needing a toilet break, didn't you, Jacky?
Well, it got to half an hour in, and I kept looking at the clock because I really needed a piss.
Yeah.
But then you're also trying to engage in conversation with a guest and trying to get the most out of them. And I'm just like, when can we fucking wrap up so I can have a piss? You can have that. And I'm glad there's only one left. It worked out perfectly.
So, Will, just to give the listeners context, first of all, I'm just going to preface it as well that you're an endurance athlete. What that means for some people who might not know what that means, you've ran across India and I believe you've either done the spine race or you're going to do the spine race. Jacky didn't know what the spine race were.
No, I didn't
was telling him about the
the
North Pennine spine race, which is 160 miles. So you're an endurance athlete, you're doing all that. Why?
Well, I'm glad we got an hour because there's so many whys.
Go on.
Yes, I'm a Bristol-based ultra-endurance athlete, currently sponsored by North Face. So they do an amazing products, which just make life so much easier when you're out on the trail. But I mean, I've been doing this technically since I was 14. It wouldn't be a shock to many people that I wasn't a very academic child. And I went home one weekend and Dad woke me up and said, let's go for a run. And we ended up doing a half marathon. And it was the first time where something clicked in my life. And I was actually, not in a cocky way, but I was actually better than people at school. And obviously you gravitate to that because I was always bottom of the class or just scraping through on the old exams. And I absolutely gravitated to it and have actually never stopped.
Your first run was a half marathon.
Yeah,
you went out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first run that I remember.
Yeah.
Got
wow,
PE and all of that. But yeah, I mean, it's the first time where I remember running, and I just love the flow state. I love the miles ticking over and just slowly ticking something off to then finally get to your end goal. So, I mean, I'm an absolute. Well, I'm addicted to ultra endurance now, but I've been lucky enough to do some mad races. I've ridden across America, ridden from Bristol to Athens.
You've ridden on a bike from Bristol to Athens?
Yeah.
Wow.
East coast to west coast of America. I've just been to Kurdistan. I mean, I've done countless 100-mile races. I've done a 200-mile race around, well, it wasn't a race, 200-mile run around Queen Square in Bristol, which was a 480-metre loop. So that took 51 hours, and I slept for 14 minutes. So it was a lot more of a mental game. But I basically jumped into the loop challenges because COVID took everything away. COVID took all the races.
Yeah.
So it was more of a jump in your mind and obviously raise as much money as possible for charity.
Amazing. Yeah, that must have drove you crazy because didn't he say you can only do an hour of running or exercise outside?
Yeah.
With half an hour, an hour or something. That's just you warming up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. But yeah, I didn't know what the spine race was, and he was telling me on the way over here, and I was like, the India thing was crazy enough, but yeah, these 200-mile, isn't it? What's that? 240, is it Moab 240 or something? I've heard about that. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Moab 240.
Yeah, I've not really looked into it too much, but it's obviously got to be on the list somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely something you're going to tick off now. But yeah, no. Then I saw you post this morning. We were just talking about it before when you were trying to run around London and getting lost, and your Strava's taking you in circles and loops.
Days.
What happened there?
Canary Wharf is an absolute jungle, isn't it?
He's been on these mad races and he's getting lost in Canary Wharf.
I mean, it was only meant to be a simple 10K, and then you get these zombies walking towards you on their phones, and then you're trying to dodge them, then they instantly look up and they dodge in the same way, and oh my days.
sounds like a video game, doesn't it?
It's crazy. I don't know how you guys live around here.
But I lived in London for 6 years. I moved out 2019. So I've not been in London, like living here for some time, 5 or 6 years, but it does take some getting used to. I mean, you're from Bristol, right? Yeah. So you spent a bit of time in London, but living here is completely different kettle of fish. It took me a good, I would say, year to kind of understand that people don't look where they're going. They're not asked. Even now, I know people on their phones, but even, 2016, 17, people are, especially, I was commuting to the Apple store in London on Regent Street, Oxford Circus, and getting there at 8:30 in the morning. No one gives a fuck about you. Like, it's like, you think everyone's like, I was talking about being self-conscious and stuff, and no one gives a fuck about you. Yeah. Everyone's just so wrapped up in their own world. But yeah, London is a little bit crazy. But there's something about it. I love it. I love coming into town. But I live about 35 minutes on the train out of London now from Waterloo. I love getting, I'm like, oh, I'm buzzing, I'm going back into town, almost nostalgic. But then when I'm done in the day, I can't wait to fucking get out of it. What do you like when you come up? Because you live in Ibiza, and you're back for you come back for a week. It's opposite sides.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just obviously linking with what Will's talking about there, and I resonate with it a lot. And you'll remember when I did live in Manchester, I lived in Manchester city centre for like 10 years, and it was great because you're living in the heart of the city. It's hustle bustle, it's fast paced. My office was there, but I always had this deep kind of like need to get out, and I used to go and climb Ben Nevis, Mount Snowdon, Scaffold Pike. We did the 3 peaks. I recently did Kilimanjaro, so I like climbing mountains and like being out in nature.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Will, when you mentioned before, you said a word that sticks in my mind because I've mentioned it on previous episodes as well, the flow state.
Yeah.
And that's what I was getting. When I was living in a city, I had this just subtle anxiety and nervousness to just kind of get out of the concrete and the glass and the busyness. And every time I went up a mountain, I came back and it was a reset. It was like a recharge. So, like for you, Will, and doing these endurance runs and that, they're brutal. Like spine races just, and I think I seen you put on one of your posts, like unforgiving and brutal. And I watched a documentary from the 2023 race, and I forget the race's names. One of the lads was an American runner, and it was unbelievable. And there was a female runner who came into the race and ended up winning it, I think.
Yeah, Jasmine Paris.
That's the one I was telling you about her. So Jasmine Paris, when you watch that, like literally asleep for 11 minutes the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, it's brutal.
Wow.
Like, that's the North Race through the Pennines. How do you get into a flow state when you're doing 200 miles?
Well, I mean, just to put that more into context, Jack Scott, who won the race last year, he slept for 45 minutes, and it's 268 miles up the Pennine Way, and it took him 72 hours. I mean, and so because he ran that so quickly, it took 10 hours off the course record.
10 hours?
That's the one.
10 hours off the record?
10 hours.
Animal.
And when you watch the previous like races and wins and victories, they're pushing it.
Yeah.
So to come in as a new race the following year and to like 10 hours, it's huge.
That's insane. I actually don't know whether I was speaking to you about this the other day. It wasn't you, it was someone else. But I was talking about getting into that flow state of running. I only started running about 2 years ago when I was starting to get into my health and fitness again. But I've never. I love the feeling afterwards. When I finish a long run.
Yeah.
Long run for me.
No.
He's just
But
got
you
his
never regret a
shoes
run,
in.
do you?
No, never. And the feeling I get afterwards, that dopamine rush, which lasts for hours, is amazing. But I've never still got that. They call it the runner's high or whatever it is. I still haven't got that. I don't know. Maybe I need to keep pushing it. I need to keep going through.
Yeah.
When you hit that barrier where you can't go any further, you need to keep push past that. I imagine that's when it comes.
Completely. And the more you get it, the harder it is to get it again.
Right, it sounds like you're chasing the dragon with others as well, isn't it? You just keep on doing more and more.
And that's it, yeah.
Well, he said addict as well. You hear what he said?
Oh, complete addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
addiction
is it
can take you down healthy. Well, it's healthier than a lot of
Probably
others
need
do.
new years when I'm 30, but yeah.
You're sponsored by North Face, it's healthy. No, how was the India, like, obviously, had you been to India before? Or
No.
How was that whole experience? Because I've still not been to India yet. Me and my wife want to go, and it's always this place that's got, again, massively steeped in different culture and history and colours and flavours and sounds and sensations. How was that whole journey for you running across India?
Go to India.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Most amazing place on the planet. It was hectic, but I don't know how, but there is some sense of calm that you almost feel, even though there's so many noises going on, there's so many smells, there's so many colours. Everyone's dressed, especially in the rural parts, so beautifully, and it is honestly the most amazing spots. But I mean, so India came into my head because, after Queen Square, I ran across Ireland for a pint of Guinness.
For a pint of Guinness?
Yeah.
So, was it waiting at the finish line?
Yeah, I had to run there, yeah. But I drove from Bristol to Galway, stupidly necked a pint of Guinness there. And then 20k in, my stomach basically was not in a good spot. So normally I'm very good with my nutrition. I know what I need. But 20k in, everything was coming up. So it was meant to take, sub 24 hours was the game. And then it took more than 30. It was the worst thing in the world. So, I mean, anything that I ate just came straight up. The only thing I actually managed to get down was 4 Baby Bells, a cheese string.
Oh,
so it was horrendous. Anyway, so then I got to Dublin to the Guinness factory at 4 a.m, which is, by the way, closed.
obviously at 4 a.m, you fucked it there.
And then then I got back to Bristol and just stared at a map, and there was India just staring at me straight back, and I thought, right, there needs to be a route, 700k, because I've only got a week's annual leave left. So I thought, if I do 100k a day, be there a week later on the other side of the country, and then I thought, I've never been to India. I thought that's the best way to actually experience the country, and I've said that time and time again from all these trips.
Right.
Just taking off the rose-tinted glasses, getting off the tourist bus, and actually experiencing it from the deep end. I mean, we had some of the most amazing interactions from locals. The cities are nuts. I don't know how they squeeze five lanes of traffic into 3, but they managed to do it. Bengaluru, the city in the middle, has a population of 8.2 million. London's 8.6, but it's half the size. So there are just people everywhere.
No, my business partner's there now. And they said,
in Bengaluru?
Yeah. They're there now. They're there for the whole week until next week. They went 2 days ago. Our friend Scott's there.
Yeah.
Pie. I call him Scott because I'm on the podcast, but his name's Pie. So Pie and the lads are there, and they said it's mental.
Yeah.
But they were only staying in that one place. Walk us through that then. From that decision to go, there's got to be some mad stories from that trip, from the India. trip. 700.
Well, I mean, is this a kids podcast? I don't know.
No, let's go for it.
Definitely is not a kids podcast. You can be as explicit or as calm as you like, whatever you want. But give us some juicy stuff though.
Well, okay, I'll try. So we arrived on, I think it was December the 4th. I was meant to have 2 days just to acclimatise and just get used to the heat because, I mean, it's 45 degrees. It is just wet heat. I mean...
You're sweating even just stood still, probably.
Yeah, literally. And at 9 in the morning after the first day, I was just dripping. 9 in the morning, I'd set off at 4:30. My shorts were just saturated. It's just... The moistest place on the planet is pretty different to Bristol, I'd say.
Just a bit.
Slightly. So yeah, we arrived anyway. So I had a day just getting all the kit and everything. I bought a camping chair because I thought that'd be a really good idea. Met up with the team. We were kindly sponsored by VW, so saw the team, made sure that everyone was aware of what we were doing, what the plan was, the day-to-day breakdown. And we actually ended up starting the day after just because the city was just too jumpy. It's hectic. Wow. It's absolutely mad. So after a day, which gives you no acclimatization, gives you no adjustment to the heat, we set off from the beach, and I mean, it was nuts. I've never run through such traffic. I've never run through, I mean, within the first 45 kilometers, which is running through Chennai, I saw 3 dead bodies.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
Just on the side of the road?
On the side of the road. There was cows in the middle of the road. There were tuk-tuks that were just, their wing mirrors just winging past you. I mean, wow. It's pretty much of an introduction to India and just how different it is to the UK. But then again, we saw the most amazing interactions of people just like waving at us, high fives, selfies. I probably got 10,000 selfies from that whole trip.
Wow.
They just, if you want to stick out in India, be tall, be white, and later on in the trip, I started running with an umbrella. That just attracted more attention.
Is that just because of the sun?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be burnt.
Yeah. I mean, the first day from like midday to 2-3 in the afternoon was just relentless. I just got heat stroke basically. Just couldn't keep much down. At the time, I had my nutritionist with me, and I just was literally just throwing up on the side of the road.
It's such a strain on your body that, like, even if you're well versed in those sort of things, you know, long distance running, regardless, when you're going to another country, even if you're not running, you go to another country, you struggle.
Yeah.
You struggle to, I mean, when I was on tour, I struggled just to sit down, never mind to even move. Like when I got to, like, for example, going to, what's it called? Brisbane. Yeah. Brisbane's like something like 98% humidity. So the humidity will have been like hammering your body. And then if you're running, did you manage to do 100K a day? Like the plan was?
Pretty much, yes. Yeah. The first day was a little bit more. I mean, as soon as we came out of the city, the rice paddy fields were flooded, so we had to reroute. So I think that's 120K the first day, which was kind of on the plan just to break the back of it. But then again, going through the middle city, I mean, it's just
slow.
Nuts. Yeah. I mean, I work for a big company called JLL, which is a big property firm, big investment firm, and we have an office halfway across. So ran 50K in the morning, put on a clean T-shirt with all the logos of all the brands that I was sponsoring, up to the 4th floor, gave a quick talk, had some free coffees, free scran. 2 hours later, I had to run another 50K.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. I mean, cool. it definitely broke up the day.
Yeah.
The bit where you're rested and having coffee and food is the bit where Jacky's going, that's pretty cool. When you was like going, I was barfing at the side of the road and dead bodies, Jacky was sat there going, at what point is
was
this?
the coffee any good? Was it filter or was it
Indian
fucking
coffee is great.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
I
need to go. I'm so good I never got to go this time, but it's definitely something I want to go to. With regards to, I want to know injuries and stuff, because your feet must be mashed doing something like that, right? 700K.
To be honest with you, 700. So it ended up being 740K just because of reroutes and all of that.
Okay.
I never got any blisters. No, I'm pretty sure I got one blister.
How?
Okay,
how does that
isn't
happen?
a plug, but I'm sponsored by Runderwear. This is not.
And that wasn't planned by me. That wasn't a planned question.
No. But I mean, basically, their socks have got 2 layers,
right?
So they're constantly moving. So you literally just can't get a blister.
What are they called?
Runderwear.
I'm gonna have to get some of them because I'm only doing like 20, 25Ks, and I sometimes get blisters.
Really?
Maybe it's the shoes I've got as well. Maybe the shirt.
Yeah.
Asics, I think I wear. Asics, is that how you say it?
Well, that's your first.
Yeah, Asics.
Yeah, all right.
North Face.
I get
North Face.
North Face. All right, yeah, of course. That's a plug. All right, cool. So no blisters. What about like your joints, your knees and stuff? Like was something like 7?
Well,
no?
I mean, to be honest with you, my nutritionist, who's Rachel White, she smashed my obviously intake of food.
Yep.
I only lost 0.5 kilogram of body weight during the whole thing, which is pretty unheard of. And then when it comes to recovery, I was in the recovery boots every evening, which basically, do you know what they are?
No.
Boots that you put on your whole legs for 45 minutes and basically just massages you.
Okay.
So then I don't know. I'm no scientist, but
Is it heat or cold, or is it just massage?
no. It just compresses your legs and then releases, and just compresses and releases.
That sounds expensive as well.
Absolutely nuts. But
Yeah.
then after 100k and you slept for, well, I got in. Well, I tried to be in bed by 11, 12, and then I had to be on the road at 4:30, and sometimes we had to drive half an hour to back where I was. So not a lot of sleep, more sleep than my normal races, but the fatigue is definitely legs. But as soon as I woke up, I could walk around.
Wicked.
I had no fatigue in my legs.
That's mad,
nuts.
considering how many kilometers you're hitting every day.
Yeah, but I mean
120
that's also just smashing food in the evening. Absolutely. So smashing your carbs, and that's through. Well, we were sponsored on that one by Huel. So I was having their meals, which were great because obviously I knew that they were sterile, so I didn't actually get deli belly or anything. So there's no juicy stories there. And I had carb drinks. So before bed, I just made sure I just got this drink down me, and Rachel would tell you how many carbs were in there and how many calories and everything, but a lot. So you're replenishing everything that you have taken out. And then the last thing was raw cherry juice.
Okay,
Which
that's new. I've never heard that before. Talk us through that.
Sounds nuts, but I mean they're in these little gel packets, and you just put them in water, and then apparently it's meant to aid recovery. Nuts, I don't know how, but
I thought you were going down the energy route, like sugar glucose sort of thing with the cherries, not the
no.
recovery.
No. It's like really tart. It's really. I mean, you couldn't go straight from the
tube.
Yeah, nah.
So what about supplementation as well? What? Because it sounds like you have to have your nutrition nailed for something like that. So you've got your food, but you got supplementation on the side as well. Are you taking any supplements or?
To be honest with you, I think that's a complete fad.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk us through that.
I
What do you mean?
think it's just companies trying to make more money.
Yeah.
Agree.
Pure sports.
Yeah, I am. I've supplemented. I've tried loads of different things. There's a few things that have helped me for my joints, but I went from having a really, really bad back. In fact, this is a long story, but when I was touring and would not look after my body, I wasn't eating right, I was drinking a lot of alcohol and partying, not sleeping and stuff. My back, because of DJing, you kind of bent over all the time, you sat in planes all the time, all this repetitive strain, right? When I went to get an MRI, I went to the doctor and they basically looked at the scan and said, you've got advanced generation in your back. You've got the back of a 55-year-old. All you can do is maintain the damage.
Yeah.
I was 30. I was like, well, this is fucked. What am I going to do? If I have kids, I'm not going to even be able to pick them up.
Yeah.
And from that point, certain supplements I've been taking for years now, like for 3 or 4 years. I've tried different things in different combinations. But stuff like MSM and glucosamine, all the omegas, omega-3, and then some other stuff, especially even vitamin. What about vitamin D? Because we're all deficient of vitamin D in the UK, especially with the fucking grey weather we have all the time. But yeah, that's really interesting. I love having these conversations because you have some people who are like really for it, really against it, and some people are just like, yeah, I take a multivitamin, and you have everything in between.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does boil down to having a balanced, healthy diet.
Yeah.
And I do actually. My dad's a GP, so I do actually have a spray vitamin D because, as you said, we don't have much sunlight. But that is literally it. I was on probiotics for the week before, just to make sure that my immune system was up and make sure there wasn't anything in there. But to be honest, you just have a balanced diet.
Yeah, which a lot of people don't as well. Which is probably half the problem, right?
Definitely.
The beige diet that most people have.
Yeah. I mean, how primitive do you want to be? I mean, back in the day when we were cavemen, were you like, oh no, mate, have a tablet or go and eat some greens?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I suppose diet's huge, and again, if you use my case, I don't know if it's actually working. All I know is, I've changed everything in my life. I'm not eating net poor food and drinking tequila every night. I'm eating well. I'm gymming. I'm running. I'm doing stuff that's good for me. So. Do I know if it's supplementation or whether it's more diet and me look after myself? I don't fucking know.
Or placebo.
Placebo, that's real as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck knows. Yeah, I asked you yesterday, didn't I? And you were like, no, I don't take anything.
Nah.
But you didn't fucking say that. You're giving it the big it's all shit as well.
No, I didn't say it was shit, but because you had about 15 tablets on the table in front of you, and I thought, I don't want to make you go like, oh, what's that? No, but obviously there's two sides to the coin. For some people, supplementation might be beneficial if they're deficient in certain areas, and Gary Brecker talks about that. But for me, I have a similar disposition to what Will just said, is for 95% of our time on this planet, we weren't doing that.
Exactly.
So it's just coming. If you look at the time span of human history, it's the whisper of a hairline that we're even doing this, like with phones and all the rest of it. So I believe there's a lot of corporate, interest in doing that. And to be fair, Will's actually an advert for what alcohol can do with his previous run as well. Totally fine. Had a pint of Guinness, game over.
Oh, yeah.
You probably would have been fine if you hadn't had that Guinness.
Imagine you had a Guinness in India. At the halfway point at JLL.
Wouldn't trust that. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think running and ultra is the most primitive thing you can do, because I mean, there was always one tribe member that wanted to know what was on the edge of the horizon, and like always have the ability to keep on running.
Yeah.
And how beautiful is that? Just having the amount of food and just stripping everything back. I mean, when I'm in that headspace in any race, especially the spine, it's so beautiful because all of a sudden you're in a bubble. Forget your phone, forget your work. Sorry, boss. But I mean, you literally just need to think about food, water, shelter, and like energy, which is happiness at the end of the day, isn't it?
It's very tribal, that, isn't it? Like primitive.
I love it.
It's when I hear things like that, it almost just reminds me of meditation. Because when you meditate, you're doing your best. You have these thoughts are coming in and out, but you're trying to have a moment for you. And you try not to, but you're thinking about nothing but the breath, and you focus on the breath. You've got this single focus.
Yeah.
But when you're running in a race like that, especially something like an ultra race, you can't afford to be thinking about anything else apart from what's the job at hand.
Yeah.
Which is one step in front of the other.
Yeah. I actually had a mad moment whilst training for this. I mean, I ran everywhere just to train for this, because I was peaking at 220, 230k weeks, and that was from running from Worcester to Gloucester to Bristol. But the most beautiful run I had during it was running from Bristol to Newport, 45k over the bridge. But I literally don't know what happened. I just went into a meditative state, and without looking at time, I was conscious. I was eating food, but without even realising, I'd reached Newport, and that was 45k in. And then I'd thought, well, I'll just go to Cardiff. Cardiff is only 20k, and I'll just go along the coast. And then again, I just dropped straight back into that meditative state, and it was the easiest run I've ever done. 70k, 6.5, 7 hours, whatever. But I felt nothing.
Wow.
It was honestly one of the most beautiful experiences ever.
Was that conscious going into that meditative state, or was it just a natural, like you just fell into it?
I just completely fell into it. I just had to disconnect between my legs and my head. And I was like, obviously looking around and eating and being aware of when to eat, but my legs were just going. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it at the beginning, because when Will said it, I think Bruce Lee famously said it, is the flow state equals no state mind.
Yeah,
so you get into a point where the mind is no more, you go beyond mind, which is what meditative practices are, innit? You get there when the mind stops at the internal chatter, and you get there, and I can now see, because when I was asking you, Will, because these races, when you see, actually, for anybody who's not seen them, check them out, Spine Race as an example, but watch what these guys do. And everyone's like, whoa, you run that far. But when you actually watch what they have to go through mentally, that is some serious, resilience, discipline, fight. It's so easy, because we've all been there. Even when you run, the first 10 minutes, your head's going, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you're kind of like, oh, this is great. But then later on down the line, if you run even bigger distances, you're like, my knees are hurting, my ankles hurting. So I can see that you really get that flow state. That's your reward out of doing this, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've obviously have those doubts in my head every now and again, but the biggest doubt was actually quite recently on the spine, because it was 3 weeks after I finished India. And so
how long, sorry, again, we'll rebound, so we can get this into context. Ireland was how long after Ireland was India?
Ireland was 23 December, and then I had basically a year just to prep for India. But I mean, Kurdistan was August last year. But December, 740k, and then January was 268 miles, which is, I don't know, 480, whatever.
It's
and
heavy.
The spine has been on my list for a long, long time. And I mean, just getting it. I don't know what Glastonbury sells out at, but this race sold out on that year at all places, 200 something in 80 seconds. So it is so competitive.
Wow.
It's growing huge.
And yeah. Anyway, so you've obviously got the amazing lottery of having the best spine weather, because you enter the winter spine basically to get battered by the conditions, and there was waist deep snow for most of it. So this was the year that if you want to do the winter spine, you have to do it now. Anyway, so cracked on, probably 10 miles in, my head wasn't in it. I had so much fatigue in my legs. I wasn't in the same routine of eating. I mean, I slept on the first night, and I never sleep really during the first night. I was pushed through to the second, and then have a wee little cat nap, etc. So I could just tell my body wasn't in it. My head was thinking, am I actually enjoying this? Because there was brutal weather. Visibility was awful. I mean, snow drifts up to 6 foot. I mean, it was absolutely
6
horrendous.
foot?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was at the bottom of where one of the climbs, Fountain Fell, and you got to go through the farmer's yard, etc. And the farmer was, I don't know, doing some farmer stuff, and they said, "Are you going up there?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Right, you're either brave or stupid. There's 6 foot snow drifts. I'll check your tracker to make sure that you're all right, and if you have anything, then I'll see if I can come find you." And that is quite like, oh God, what am I going into?
Buzzing.
Yeah. Cheers, lad. And it was absolutely horrendous. Just brutal wind. Didn't see a single soul. There was no path really. Yeah, you see some every now and again. You see like a footprint or whatever. It's the middle of the night. Just stuck to your head torch. And I mean, that's when you ask yourself why.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I doing?
But then again, that is, I mean, so. When everyone says, why do you do these things, or what do you say to yourself during those moments, it boils down to 2 words: lucky, envelope. And this is my why. Lucky because we are so lucky. I mean, we're currently sat in comfy seats, a nice swanky studio, Tenzing, etc. We don't have, I mean, bombs going over us. We don't have, we're not personally not struggling for food when we've got comfy clothes on, etc. So we are so lucky to have the ability to put yourselves in these situations. I mean, paid to put yourself in these situations, and actually have ability for your body to actually do it. I'm also lucky because I've got an amazingly supportive family, friends, work, etc. And then envelope, I see everyone as an envelope. Everyone's got a border, everyone's got an edge, and when you get to that edge, you want to know, could I go further? And so everyone's got different size envelopes, and I appreciate running 200 miles isn't the same as running 5k, and I don't care, but I always encourage people to push yourself, get to the edge of your envelope, 5k, 10k, knitting, whatever it is, finding your edge, and then pushing further, and actually realizing you can do more. And then guess what? Your envelope gets bigger. And then guess what? You want to find out what happens when you get to your edge again. So, I mean, that's what I tell myself. Well, that's what I told myself on top of Fountain Fell.
I love that.
Event horizon, innit? Keep pushing it.
What's that?
Never get complacent. Never settle.
Can't.
Always use perspective. Because guess what? Next week, you're going to be behind the desk wanting to be back in that storm, wanting to be back in that situation.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's where you feel raw. That's where you feel alive.
I really like the way you've put it, Will, because I've never heard it framed like that. I've heard obviously different kind of, analogies of putting it like that and metaphors, but I really like that one. That's the one that's going to stick. Lucky envelope.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, because the gratitude's there.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to put myself through this pain now. I'm willing to push because, first of all, I'm grateful and I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So that then gives you the juice to say, okay, let's push this.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
And in the moments where it is brutal, because I've been there.
So
when I was
Type
climbing
2.
Kilimanjaro and I got to we were 6 hours away from the summit, and we was up at midnight. And I've done the 3 peaks. I did it in 23 hours. That was, again, no sleep. It was brutal. And I love doing it. I do enjoy it. And I get why what you do is unbelievable. But that 6 hours was the worst 6 hours of my life. Horrible. the hardest thing I've ever done. And at the time I was growling, I was kicking the grit, I was losing oxygen, we're going higher and higher, you know, at 19,000 feet. But when I got to the top, the reward and the view. So, and it was we always say, on the other side of pain is pleasure. On the other side of fear is faith, and that lucky envelope's going to really stick with me. I love that one.
Good. Well, I mean, tell yourself when you're feeling tired or whatever during the middle of a run, or I mean, the reward is there. You just got to keep on finding it, and that is the most amazing thing. These races aren't just running A to B. It's an opportunity to explore yourself. Yeah. I mean, when I got to the top of Fountain Fell, I just threw my running poles on the floor and I just screamed into the wind. Like, it's so primitive. Like, anything else, and then I realised you had to obviously get down, which is even more sketchy.
So sorry, just before you go on to that reminded me of something that Goggins said. He said that when you think you're at the end, if you think you're like you say running a race, whatever, and you think you can't go any further, most people are about 40%.
Yeah.
That's usually about 40% because your brain's telling you you're done, stop.
Yeah.
That's usually about 40%. So most people aren't really getting even. That's obviously his interpretation. He's a psychopath. But like there's some truth in that, isn't there?
Yeah. Just sit, have a reflection, have some calories. I mean, it's ridiculous what food does to you and mentally. So many times I'll just like sit down if I'm in a massive state, just smash 3 gels. And then, just keep on going. And then 20 minutes later, you will feel better.
That's interesting. I was going to ask you about the food. I will ask you after that, but you had a question before you forget. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that I had that experience as well when I was climbing up Kilimanjaro. I had something that I would never normally have. And again, it's not a plug, but the guy gave us a Red Bull, and I will never normally touch a Red Bull. I wish I'd had a Tenzing, but I had it, and I seen what sugar, obviously that intake can do when you're fatigued and your legs ain't working. Nothing was working. My brain stopped working. So I get what Will was saying there with that one. But you started running when you was 14 and you got into it, and it's almost like there was this instant spark and connection. So it's funny, we gave that book away yesterday, Born to Run, but it sounds like Will was born to run.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now, Will?
I'm 28, the last time I checked.
Man, you've achieved so much for a 28-year-old.
Well, I promise you, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, the reason
he's just getting started.
Again, the reason I ask, because one of my friends who's from Ireland, his Uncle Tony, I was speaking to him in Ibiza, and he's 80, 81, 82 now, and at the time he'd just touched 80 from memory, and he'd done a marathon that day in Ibiza, and he was 80. And I'd never met someone like that. So I went over and I was speaking to him about it. And he doesn't drink alcohol as well. And I said, can I just ask, like, I've never spoken to someone at your age who's run a marathon that day. You're on holiday. What's your secret to running? And he just said to me, he said, I only started running when I was 40. And I only run 3 days a week maximum. And I won't always do like a 20K or 25K. I'll do like a 10K. And then I'll do like a 40K or whatever. So he said that my legs are still working for me because I haven't overused them. So how was you been running a heck of a lot from 14 even to 28 and nothing, no issues?
Yeah. I mean, running isn't just running. And I think there's a massive pandemic coming our way in the fact that we've got all these influencers that are influencing their audience and basically saying, go and do these ultra runs, go and push yourself, and yes, you should, but the journey is the most beautiful thing. I mean, just go and do your first 10K, just go and do your first half marathon and work your way up. Don't all of a sudden become an ultra endurance nutter overnight, because guess what? You will get injured.
Yeah.
And running isn't just running. Running is strength training in the gym. I take that very seriously. I stretch every night. You've got to eat the right things. You've got to make sure that recovery is obviously super important, and understand that some days you don't feel as if you can, and you've got to identify, is this an opportunity for me to say, nah, I'm actually just going to go to the gym and I'm going to jump on the bike, or I'll go for a bit more of a softer run on the trails or on the treadmill. So running isn't just running. Running is making sure that you are looking after yourself for the next day.
Yeah.
The running long distances for me is something I struggled with because of an injury, which I figured out was actually a weakness in my hips. Mm-hmm. So I did a half marathon 23. I'd only run for like maybe 3 months, did a half marathon, Chelmsford half, and I was like, this is class, I'm addicted, let's do this all the time. I become immediately hooked. I was like, this is different. This hits differently to any other sport or exercise that I'd done. And it's so freeing because you can, as we've spoke about it before on the show, but all you need is a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
If you're like, I talked about running around New York when I was there on holiday. I was like, I'm seeing Manhattan and I'm having, you know, I wouldn't have done this otherwise. But I did that, and then I was supposed to run I signed up the Barcelona Marathon and did that. Was supposed to do that in March last year. But then after like loads of investigation, like you said, it's not just running. I was seeing a chiropractor and I was doing stretching and, you know, all the strength training and stuff you do. Realized that the pain in my back and my leg was all to do with my hips. So, and as I went more long distance, the pain had to, the weakness had to go somewhere. Went to my legs, so I had to stop. But now I've just signed up to do a 24-hour race in Reading, the Enduro 24, like a little sort of entry thing. So I have done a half marathon, but since doing the strength training in my hips, I'm going 20, 25K with no pain. And then towards the end, I was doing 5K and not having to stop. So you're right. It isn't like just go out, get some shoes and go and do 20K. Because what happens as well is I've found people who've seen me, what I'm doing, and go, oh, I'm going to go and do a run. They've tried to run too far and gone, this is bullshit, I'm not doing this. Because it hurts. They injure themselves and they don't start. Just go for like 2K. Go over and do 3K and go slow. Don't go too fast. But it's got to be gradual.
I mean, there's a reason why 5K is usually your first goal, isn't it? And then double that is 10K. Double that is half marathon. Double that is a marathon. I don't know why an ultra marathon is 50K. I think it should be 50 miles. So obviously doubling, 60. I probably But I don't understand why it's 30.
Why is it?
I've got no
idea.
I don't know. But it should be a ladder, and it should be a journey, and it should be one that you want to enjoy. Because if you get to the half marathon stage and then you're like, actually, I'm super happy with this. I've got a busy schedule. I've got a wife, kids, and all this. That then allows you to say, this is where I'm happy. There's so much social media pressure to say, release on Instagram, I'm going to run across X, Y, Z. And I appreciate it. I'm adding to it. But
stop that.
There's so many white privileged men that are doing these things. I know it, but my angle is just to get people active and show people that you can do these things. In India, we got people active, obviously, through the charities who do amazing work, basically getting people active and showing people the benefits of moving your body. Because now this is my latest epiphany in the head, and I found it whilst I went for a run, that running gives you so much. Running makes you accountable. It breaks down challenges. It makes you set goals and teaches you how to work towards something. It introduces you to an amazing community. Most of my mates are runners and cyclists, which wouldn't be a shock to most people.
No.
And those lessons that these charities teach, the people then can relate that into real life. I mean, that's just crazy.
The dedication and the things, all the traits that you need to become a good runner, transferable to a career, a relationship. They are.
Like Will said before as well, though, even everybody, when you run a race or you do something like that, whether it's cycling as well or whether it's climbing a mountain, but running in particular, it's always them phases. I always remember when I did the Manchester 10K for the first time. I did it back in 2010, and I was running, me and Cammy, and it's like we'd always said the first 5 minutes we'd be like, why does your head go? Why are you doing this? It always does. But then afterwards, 15 minutes in, you're like, oh, this is all right. And then towards the end, you're like, come on, finish. But then when you get at the end, it's not even about a medal or anything like that. You get a sense of achievement.
That's it.
And
sense of achievement.
The endorphins in your system, the adrenaline, the natural chemicals that we have without taking supplements make you feel great. And then you want to go back and do it again.
That's it.
But for you guys doing spine and things like that, it's like, I'm killing myself. Get to the end, I'll do it again.
Literally. I mean, I was interviewed at the end, and then they said, would you do it again? I said, yeah, I would, with fresh legs, 100%.
That's another thing I noticed with the spine when I watched the documentary as well, Will, I was going to ask you about, and you just said it then a second ago. I've seen on that spine race, when I watched it, there was women stood with like hot cups of tea
Yeah.
and biscuits,
Yeah.
and locals all come
Yeah.
together and they help and support. There's a
Locals love it.
massive community.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
it's they call it the Spine family. I
Yeah.
mean, you're running along and then you see an old celebrations box on the floor and it said Spine runners, help yourself. There's some flapjacks inside and you're like, yes.
Buzzing.
Yeah. Imagine that.
I
I mean,
might do it just for the flapjack. They're fucking well homemade as well.
That's how you do it. You have a fishing rod over Jacky with a flapjack at the front.
Beat everyone.
yeah.
Bear Chat is powered by Tenzing Natural Energy. As pure as your morning coffee, but without the jitters.
Whether it's the early morning grind, the afternoon slump, or the pre-workout that you need for that session, we've got you covered. It's 100% plant energy, no added sugar, and definitely no crash. Just clean, natural energy to keep you going.
And because we love you, anyone listening to this show gets 30% off. So quote BEAR30 to get your boost.
How long did it take you though? Sorry, as well, the spine.
140 hours.
Whoa.
So,
and how much did you sleep?
1 hour a night.
1 hour a night?
Yeah. I actually hallucinated a bed on the last night in a bog.
Did you?
That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, did your mind play?
Yeah.
Somebody, when
Hallucinations.
I seen it, it happened.
plays
But I'm
tricks
not
on you.
surprised. But
It's pure. It's fatigue.
Yeah,
Beyond-
and it honestly looks real.
Does it?
I've never done drugs or anything, but from the stories that you hear, it honestly looks. I'm sure it feels identical. That it literally looks real, and you're just staring at it. And then, I mean, I've seen owls playing cellos in the tree. I've been seeing rocks which look like dogs. Yeah, I mean, you've passed people and then you look behind and they're not there. I mean, it's nuts that how real it can be.
was that scary?
You go on.
Did that scare you?
Well, I don't know if this will be cut out, but I've had the most brutal hallucination of my life where I did a race called GB Duro where I went from Land's End, John O'Groats, all off road, brutal. And I was in second place at the time, and I thought, right, I'm just going to put one dig in. Anyway, so I gave a dig, and I actually ended up having an 80k lead. It's on the bike, so it sounds impressive if it was a run, but it's really not that impressive. And the guy behind me is an absolute animal, so I thought, right, this is my one chance. And I pushed through one night, and I was halfway through the second, and all of a sudden I hear a pitter patter of feet in the middle of a forest in Scotland. I look behind and someone's chasing me, and I'm so scared, and I thought no, it's fine, and I just give myself a slap, have a drink, have some food whilst riding, and I keep on going. Then I hear the pitter patter of feet again, so I stop and I literally look up and I recognise the person. It's someone who I've tragically seen die. I tragically saw them drown in front of me, and I literally look at them in the face and I can see their breath in the cold air, and I look at them and I'm like, and I just shout, "Fuck off!" That is at the top of my lungs, and I tell myself, "Nah, this is not right. This is not right." So then I just push on, and they're just constantly there. And then I basically say, "No, I need to sleep." So I go under a tree, which I find, and then I wake up and I'm hot, which is like the first sign of like hypothermia, basically.
Yeah.
And I say, right, I need to get back going. Anyway, so I keep riding, and there they are again. So then I basically descend into a town, and then I just fall asleep under an old bus shelter. And the guy catches me, and he wakes me up, and he's been in the same situations, and he knows what I'm in, and he just picks me up and says, "Listen, I'm going to ride with you for an hour, and then I'll drop you." So what a nice guy.
You've got an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've got an hour just to warm up and just feel comfortable that someone's around me, and then
Wow.
So I mean, it's amazing the tricks your body will play on you just to make you stop doing something.
Yeah.
It's just sleep deprivation.
Yeah, sleep deprivation. I'm sure there's a level of danger to doing that though.
Oh yeah,
pushing yourself through that on your brain. What are the?
I mean, that's the limit that I'm only ever going to go to once, and I've learned that. So
you won't do that again.
No.
So if you're in that situation, you're just going to stop.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop and have a good sleep. I'm going to pull out my sleeping bag and have a proper sleep.
You pushed that envelope there, then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man. First of all, sorry, Will, to hear about your experience.
Yeah.
We've seen somebody, that's traumatic in itself, and again, my thoughts on that one. But mate, as this conversation's going, I'm just getting more and more blown away at how much you put
What a
yourself
weirdo we've got
through
here.
it.
Nah, man, it's incredible.
I would have stopped.
Yeah,
I'd have just gone, nah, mate.
The first instance, I think I would have freaked out, and I would. That's enough for me. First time.
Like,
no,
and I
I'm
like
done.
pushing it. Like, you're on a different page.
No, not like pushing it compared to this.
No,
guy.
that's what I'm
You
saying.
think you are, but then there's levels to this shit, though. There's levels to this, isn't there?
No, but listen, like, I'm an addict. I like pushing things. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. I'm stupid. I got on my bike and just decided I was going to cycle round a beaver, and I did it without even trying. So I am of that page. What I'm saying is, but to even hear that when he was describing that experience, then Will, I was like, when he said it was there again, I was like, Eve, I think I'd be like, wow. But for you to,
well, it just boils down to how much you want something.
Yeah, definitely. But that's
and
that's
you
heavy,
should never
man.
quit. You should never scratch at night, because when the daylight came up and the guy found me when I was under the bus shelter in Scotland, that's when I was like, okay, no, it's fine. And I mean, we only had a couple of 100k to the checkpoint, so I knew I was going to get there.
Just a couple hundred
in Fort Augusta. I knew I was.
It's like even when you did the spine, though, you did India 3 weeks before, you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then the first, mate, that's some next level of that.
Blow my mind. So now you've done what you've done. We've spoke about that. What's the next big thing you want to do? Let's talk about that. Come on, what's next?
Well, I hate that question. I mean, surely I've done enough.
No.
You said before.
He's played it.
Yeah, years he went, I'm just getting started.
Well, so I've got some proposals with some brands just to basically run across some countries, one a year basically, and just tick them off. I'm quite restricted to 700-800 Ks, just because of annual leave. But I mean, there's so many races out there. I mean, they're just popping up everywhere. There's the Atlas Mountain Race that just looks so good. Morocco, yeah.
How long is that one?
Well, it's about to kick off now. I'm pretty sure it's 2,000k.
It's beautiful, but I did it in a van. I just sat in the van with the driver.
That sounds a little bit easy. Have a little thing of flapjacks there.
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean, there's so many races everywhere. But I mean, the best thing I like to do about these races is do them in different areas, do them in different spots, because I mean, you get to experience some amazing things, and just, as I say, get off the tourist bus, get off the rose-tinted glasses, and actually experience the culture, experience the people. So
what's the one that you're vying up, Will, where you're getting a sensation where you think, I think that one's going to be the one where I'm going to get a lot from it, or the one that's going to test you?
Well, I mean, it's just going to different countries.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like India, just like poof, straight in.
So, I mean, I wish the whole war would chill out. I mean, Russia, I've never been to Russia. That would be so cool just to go and experience that.
Yeah.
Give that one a minute, I reckon.
Yeah. I mean, my friends have just gone to Afghan. I mean, that apparently is just so cool.
Yeah.
And quite similar vibes to India, it sounded like. So I've never been to Afghanistan. That's not a hint, that's not a plug, but Uzbekistan, all these amazing places that you just don't think about. I mean, I had one of the most amazing experiences when I was in Kurdistan, where you're on the Elizabethan plateau, and it's up at 3,000 meters, don't know what. And I'm riding, and you basically, it's a long old plateau, and you're basically always going against the wind, always feel as if you're pushing against something. Anyway, so then I look to my left, and there's a little hut, and a girl runs and jumps a couple of fences to catch me, to come and talk to me. I'm assuming anyway. So I ride up. No English is spoken. She just goes like that, and then points at her hut. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. This is just gonna be a cup of tea, cool. So then I walk in, and she's sat cross-legged on the floor, with the rug in front of her. I'm guessing it's her mum and dad are frantically just in the background, boiling tea, pulling together some sweet treats, some bread, some white honey. Anyway, so everything gets put on the table. We sit down probably for I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour, not long. No English, just. I just pull out a picture of my family and just like that, and it's like, this is me, this is England, this is where I'm going. Anyway, so no English. Tell them where I'm going. I'm going up, and then over to the next town, and they're like, go. And then I pull out some money just to say thank you for your hospitality, and they're like, no, I don't want anything. And I'm like, please just have it. Like, it's like 20, 30p, whatever it is here. And they're like, no. I mean, they live in a tiny little hut, which is insulated, literally looked like cling film. No, not cling film, tin foil. And they just wouldn't accept it. So, I mean, that was a massive lesson from that one. The fact that I don't do anything like that. I don't offer kindness as much as I should. So, I mean, these experiences you don't get from a tourist bus. You don't get from a paid holiday.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Those moments like that, and I've experienced exactly the same thing, and I could resonate so much with you, because when I was younger, I lived in Africa, and you'd see, this is the analogy I always use, or it's a story, actually not an analogy, it's a story. I'd go to school, and I'd be in a car, looking out the window, and there's kids on the side of the street smiling with nothing.
Yeah.
And then when we move back to the UK, you see kids crying and kicking off with their mum because they won't buy the new Nintendo 64 game.
Yeah.
And that was within a year, right?
Yeah.
And even from a young age, that you learn something about morality, you learn something about gratitude, and those experiences, especially the one you've just explained, where people were showing you kindness for nothing.
Yeah.
Random acts of kindness, and that stays with you.
Yeah, completely.
And it teaches you such important lessons which you don't get, like you say, on a paid holiday, or when you go away, or in the UK, or wherever we are.
You want to be an all-round person. You want to be not, well, I suppose worldly. You want to be, and all of these experiences give you that opportunity to be, I don't know, understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about perspective. I love that word, perspective.
Yeah.
Big one, yeah, because even as a kid, I was always watching news channels with my grandparents and my parents, and this image of the world being a scary place. I remember when I started venturing out, travelling around the world, and I'm lucky I've been to some amazing places, and coincidentally, everywhere I go, I'll always run. And when you see, that as an example, the news will tell us that foreign lands are not a safe place, and look at that. They don't have anything.
Yeah.
They don't even speak the language.
I mean, I was chased down the road in India for trying to tip someone for like some street food. I didn't have the change and anything. And then she gave me like a 20 back or whatever, and that's literally like less than 20p, and I was like, have it. And so I peg it down the road. Well, it's quite waddle. And then I look around, and there she is, and she's just like, here you go. I'm like,
yeah, it's beautiful.
Please have it.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah. I love it.
Yeah, those moments really, honestly, when you were saying that story, I knew where that was going, and I was like, I wish everyone could experience that once.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will. People who sometimes they'll pack up and go traveling before they start work, and they will experience those things if they go to poorer parts of the world. And it makes you realise how lucky we fucking are. Like, again, brings us back to that lucky envelope thing. Yeah. We are lucky.
You know, you're
so lucky.
Yeah, obviously on that point as well, there's it just came into my head while we're having this conversation. You being a runner, Will, have you heard of you must have heard of the Tarahumara? You know the Tarahumara?
No.
They're a tribe in South America somewhere up in I think it's the Andes Mountains or something like that. But these guys live at high altitude, and they live off a diet of corn that they grow. But these guys run like 3 marathons a day across the mountains to go and get resources and come back. And they run that much, and they can run that far because of the conditions of their environment and what they eat. I believe, if I'm right, because the documentary I've seen was saying that they can't actually compete in some races because of their ability to run. And they have rubber tyres. They'll cut them down, and they tie straps on, and they have rubber tyres on the bottom of the feet to run over the rocks and conditions. And they call them hirachi, the shoes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, hirachi. And you know Nike hirachis?
Yeah.
That's why they're called hirachis.
Don't get punctures on them.
Tarahumara, I'm shocked, man. I'll send you after this. I'll send you a clip. The Tarahumara, check them out. Unbelievable runners.
Blimey.
Well, that wraps us to the feature at the end. We haven't got it because it wasn't in stock.
So okay
we do a feature on the show, which is called Pass the Book. So the previous guest leaves the next guest a book, but not knowing who that guest is.
Okay, yeah.
She did try to find out if you're a boy or a girl, and I was like, I'm not telling you. A man or a woman, I was like, no, I'm not telling you.
It's cheating.
So yeah, it's cheating. So she left the book. It's called Fast Like a Girl. I am going to send it to you. Fast Like a Girl. And the reason Rafi who's a DJ, left that book is because when she was having some problems with her health, it really helped her. She has quite a lot of allergies and stuff, and problems with her digestion and stuff. So she said it really helped her. But she was hoping it was a girl. It's not. But we'll send it across to you.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely give you one. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. So after this, we'll wrap up, and then you can leave the next guest a book. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you who it is either.
Golden.
Well, before we wrap up, mate, properly, is there anything else you want to talk about? Mention? You've got.
No, I mean it's I really hope that people that look at my adventures and my Instagram aren't thinking I can't do that. The reason I do it is to get people active. It's to show people the benefits of moving your body, as I said, to make you accountable, goal setting, introduce you to community, all of that. And hopefully these adventures show that if you just give yourself some training, you can do it. I've got no special ability. I've just got an ability to just keep on breaking something down. I mean, it's like building a wall. It's just brick by brick by brick. And it is the most beautiful thing. So I can only encourage people just to give it a go at a pace. Yeah. I mean, do your first 5K and enjoy the process. Don't just go from 0 to hero. I promise you'll only pick up an injury.
Wise words.
Leave it there.
Wow. Thanks, Will. Unbelievable.
Cheers, Will. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.